Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Wonderful. I'm just taking it all in, looking at your faces, getting to know you this evening. I do feel like there's magic in this room. So thank you for coming back from your dinner break and or coming back from wherever you are or landing from wherever you are. So fun to be here. And I loved Anu's mountaintop story. And I emphasize, wrong word. I totally relate to the piriformis injury. I had many of those in my lifetime. So again, welcome. This is a mindfulness meditation on the rain practice. And my name is Shane Pennington. And I'm coming to you from Southwest Florida, where the firecrackers have already started going off, and my puppy, my 7-month-old puppy, is like, "What?" So I put her in her little doggy cathedral, and I'm hoping she won't start to bark and disrupt everything. So big sigh. And so, what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to begin with a little arriving meditation. But right now, I would like to invite you to just check your computer screen and make sure your microphone is muted. I know Alden's in the background, having our backs on this. So I really appreciate Alden, appreciate all the teachers and all of the participants here tonight. Um, and in this space, as many of the teachers have said before, you are welcome to be either on or off camera. But for the duration of my session tonight, I won't be utilizing the chat in any way. So basically, it's just, me talking to you. So I'm hoping that you'll get some benefit out of it. So, big sigh. And so let us begin. The 13th century Persian poet Rumi, he wrote, "Only from the heart can you touch the sky." So, on that quote, hold that in your heart as we begin a little arriving meditation. All righty, let's just start with this little practice, arriving where we are. Taking a few full breaths at your own pace. 3 conscious breaths might get you going. And while you're doing that, find a posture in which you are relaxed yet alert. And you can be however you want to be in this session tonight. You can be sitting in a chair. You can be on a cushion on the floor. You can be lying down or standing up if that feels good. Whatever your body is comfortable with and at ease with on the earth. Mm. And if, as we go through these meditations and trainings today, you find your body uncomfortable, you can notice that and work with it mindfully for a time. And then, you can feel free to change posture or move. Just do so mindfully. So, keeping this invitation for presence now, allow yourself first to, if your eyes are still slightly open, to observe where you are. Opening mindfulness, awareness to the body and to the senses. Mm. And if you're able, you can notice the colors either in your room or behind your eyelids. You can notice the light or the absence of light. You can notice the computer screen if your eyes are still open and you're able. Notice if there are windows in your room or the lack of windows. Just relax and let yourself take in and be with your environment just as it is in this precious moment, kindly, without judgment. And when you're ready, then just go ahead and bring your attention back into your body right here. Mm. Loosen the jaw. Let the shoulders relax and the arms and the hands rest easily at your sides or in your lap. Again, so you're arriving with a sense of dignity and alertness in your posture. Yet at the same time, a deep invitation of presence and relaxation. And just begin to notice the play of experience as you practice quietly. You might notice the sounds that come and go, far away sounds, near sounds, absence of sound. You can also notice if there's any sense of smell or taste, maybe from your leftover snack or from the neighbors cooking up dinner, any odors from flowers on the table nearby or a plant, or even the words that I'm using that evoke the sense. You can notice the body sensations, areas of ease or tightness, warmth or cool, vibration or stillness. Pleasure or pain, the feel of this body received with the kind attention right here, right now. And you can notice the state of the heart as well. Is there gratitude Is there interest, excitement, or sadness and grief, or tenderness? Does the heart feel open or closed? There's no judgment, just noticing, just noticing. Then notice the state of mind that's present now, right now. Is there planning, excitement, questioning, doubting, relaxed? Is there remembering, curiosity, boredom? And finally, again, feel your body here, halfway between heaven and earth, with presence and dignity. And realize that you can notice the play of experience. You can notice the experience you have with a spacious and kind attention. And to help you fully come more present into this moment. Okay, friends, thank you. Namaste for doing that little practice with me. So sorry about the crash and the bang in the background. That's life arising with a 7-month-old puppy. Okay, so transitioning, I'm going to give a small, about a 10-minute talk on the practice of the mindfulness meditation of rain. It's a personal talk, but it is relevant as it's how I discovered the practice and how I learned to apply it. So just go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Get yourself a drink of water, knowing that in about 10 minutes, we'll be moving on to the teaching of rain and then the practicing of rain. So, rain, recognize, allow, investigate, and nourish or nurture. Let those 4 words sit with you while I begin this short talk. When my life fell apart at the age of 54 years, I moved back to my childhood state of Virginia. I had spent the majority of my young adult, and early midlife years married to the father of my 3 daughters. In late December of 2016, I fell from my full height of 5 feet 8 inches onto the frozen pavement of my home's driveway in the state of, well, in the New England area, the state of Maine. I would eventually learn that I would become disabled from the impact of the back of my head hitting that frozen pavement. My traumatic brain injury, or TBI, had in one singular moment changed my life. It changed my physiological being. It ended both my career and my 33-year marriage. As Buddhist nun and mindfulness meditation teacher, Pema Chodron, she wrote in her book, When Things Fall Apart, and I quote Pema, "Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem. But the truth is that these things don't really matter. And they really don't get solved, excuse me. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, room for misery, and room for joy." End quote. Back home in Virginia, I was lucky enough to be introduced to somatic experiencing therapy. Now, that modality started my healing journey when I was at my wit's end. The medical community wasn't the place where I could get help for my TBI. The consensus of their advice was a wait and see attitude of what might come back online with my brain and what might not. Take that in. I'm taking that in because I'm only human and I'm taking that in. Wasn't that long ago. The second healing modality I relied on was mindfulness meditation. So let's talk about magic, shall we? I had been introduced to meditation as a teenager by my eldest sister in the 1970s. So fortunately, the Dharma seed had been planted pretty early in me. However, young motherhood, marriage, and survival in the world would soon consume my life. Post TBI and midlife divorce, I sought help in a formal psychological therapy practice for severe PTSD. Another big deep breath because I'm human and this is real. It was in that therapy practice where I first learned of the book Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach, PhD. I listened to her audiobooks and Dharma talks on the regular. For almost 2 years. I walked and walked, mile after mile, all around my hometown, my childhood hometown. Listening to Tara, listening, listening to her wise words and her calm voice. Tara did not know that she was becoming my mindfulness meditation teacher, but I sure knew. I attended mindfulness meditation retreats online when offered through her Insight community, Midsight Meditation Community of Washington, D.C. I practiced many, many, many rounds of rain on self compassion. I built my whole life around the practice. I learned to be kinder to myself. Taking Tara's advice, I was learning to become like an ocean, quote, like an ocean with waves on the surface. I was learning to feel myself as the tender, wakeful openness that includes this changing life, end quote. In the practice of mindfulness meditation on self compassion, we are getting familiar with our whole self, mind, body, and soul spirit. Pema Chodron tells us, quote, what we're talking about is getting to know fear, becoming familiar with fear, looking it right in the eye, not as a way to solve problems, but as a complete undoing of old ways of seeing, old ways of hearing, old ways of smelling, tasting, and thinking, end quote. Fast forward to 2023, almost 2024, and I'm now a certified mindfulness meditation teacher. I no longer live in Virginia. However, I'm still connected to Tara and her Insight community. I'm grateful to Tara. I'm grateful to the Insight community of meditation community of Washington, D.C. for helping me to get to know my true nature. I'm grateful to the Dharma teachers, the mindfulness meditation teachers, the beloved friends, peers, and colleagues on this Remember Presence platform, Love Your Brain Yoga nonprofit platform, Tergar International, and many, many others for walking the mindfulness path with me. A quote attributed to spiritual teacher Ram Dass sums up the mindfulness path for me, and it is this, quote, we are all just walking each other home, end quote. And as I look around at all the little Zoom boxes, I see you. I feel you. I know you're here. I can feel your presence. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. And lastly, I'll share this quote by Pema Chodron. Quote, to stay with this shakiness, to stay with a broken heart, with a rumbling stomach, with the feelings of hopelessness and wanting to get revenge, this is the path of true awakening. Sticking with that uncertainty, getting the knack of relaxing in the midst of chaos, learning not to panic. This is the spiritual path. Getting the knack of catching ourselves, of gently and compassionately catching ourselves is the path of the warrior, end quote. And so now, along with this quote by my teacher, Jack Kornfield, I offer you the Tara Brach version of the Rain Mindfulness Meditation. And Jack reminds us, quote, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete, end quote. So, taking this time to transition from one little talk to another, take a moment to move around. I know that talk was probably heavy, but I'm okay and I'm here. And I'm so glad to be here. This is a dream come true for me. So thank you for being here. Let's go on with our teaching. Self-compassion and rain, practicing with rain. The acronym RAIN is an easy to remember tool for practicing mindfulness and compassion using the following 4 steps. Recognize what is going on. Allow the experience to be there just as it is. Investigate with interest and care. Nourish with self-compassion. You can take your time and explore rain as a standalone meditation or move through the steps whenever challenging feelings arise. So again, I'm just going to give a little reassurance and a little reminder that as we move through this practice and I move through the steps, if stuff comes up for you, just take care of yourself. If you need to step back away, turn off your camera, step away from the session and get a drink of water, or whatever you do, what you need to do. And the beauty is it's recorded and you'll be able to hear it later on. Okay, recognize what's going on, the R of rain. Recognizing means consciously acknowledging in any given moment the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that are affecting us. Like awakening from a dream, the first step out of the trance of unworthiness is simply to recognize. Recognize that we are stuck and subject to painfully constricting beliefs, emotions, and physical sensations. Common signs of the trance include a critical inner voice, feelings of shame or fear, that squeeze of anxiety, or the weight of depression on the body. Recognizing can be simple, be a simple whisper, noting what has come up. Just noticing, no judgment. And then the A of rain. Allow the experience to be there just as it is. No judgment. Allowing means letting the thoughts, emotions, feelings, and sensations we have recognize simply to be there without trying to fix or avoid anything. When we're caught in self-judgment Letting it be there doesn't mean we agree with our conviction that we're unworthy. Rather, we honestly acknowledge the arising of our judgment, as well as the painful feelings underneath, like an iceberg. What's underneath? Many people support their resolve in this practice to pause and let be, just be, by silently offering an encouraging word or phrase such as, "This belongs," or "Yes," or "It's okay," or "It's okay, sweetheart," in order to acknowledge and accept the reality of the experience of the moment. And then so we move on to I, investigate. Investigate with interest and care. Interest and care, not judgment. Once we have recognized and allowed what is arising, we can deepen our attention through investigation. To investigate, call on your natural curiosity, the desire to know truth, and direct a more focused attention to your present experience right here. You might ask yourself, what most wants attention? How am I experiencing this in my body right now? Heart beating fast, nervous energy pulsing through me, fear and grief coming up. Whatever it is for you, it's okay. What am I believing, you might ask? Where in my body do I feel this? What does this vulnerable place want from me? What does it most need right now? Whatever the inquiry, your investigation will be most transformational if you step away from conceptualizing and then bring your attention, your primary attention, to the felt sense in your body. When investigating, it's essential to approach your experience in a non judgmental and kind way. This attitude of care helps create a sufficient sense of safety, making it possible to honestly connect with our hurts, fears, and shame. And then nourish in of rain. Nourish or nurture with self compassion. Self compassion begins to naturally arise in the moments that we recognize we are suffering. It comes into fullness as we intentionally nourish our inner life with self care. To do this, try to sense what the wounded, frightened, or hurting place inside you most needs, and then offer some kind of active care. You may notice that I have my hand on my chest. Maybe you would like to address this need by placing your hand on your chest and asking, does the hurt place, does it need reassurance? Does the wound need forgiveness? Does the wound need forgiveness? Does the wound need companionship? Does the wound need love? Experiment and see which intentional gesture of kindness most helps to comfort, soften, or open your heart. It might be the mental whisper, again, I'm here for you, I'm here. I'm sorry, and I love you, or I love you, and I'm listening, I'm listening. Or it's not your fault. The wound is not your fault. Trust in your goodness. In addition to a whispered message of care, many people find healing by gently placing that hand on the heart or your cheek, or by envisioning being bathed in a warm light, a warm, loving light, radiant light. If it feels difficult to offer yourself love, bring to mind a loving being. You know, it can be a spiritual figure, it can be a family member or a friend, a beloved pet. And imagine that being's love and wisdom flowing into you. When the intention to awaken self compassion is sincere, the smallest gesture of turning towards love, of offering love, even if initially it feels awkward, will nourish your heart. And when you've completed the active steps of rain, it's important just to notice your own presence and rest in the wakeful, tender space of awareness. The fruit of rain is realizing that you are no longer imprisoned in the trance of unworthiness or any limited sense of self. In other versions of rain, this is the non identified. The N is non identified. So give yourself the gift of becoming familiar with the truth and the natural freedom of your being. It's mysterious and precious. And I'll end this little teaching block with a quote from Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. Thai says, quote, waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours await me. I vow to live fully in each moment and to look at all beings with eyes of compassion. End quote. Another breathing break, friends. Another adjusting break. I'll take in some adjusting and some moving around. All right, so now what I would like to do, I told you my story. I shared Tara's teaching. That was actually Tara's teaching on rain, so it's the real deal, y'all. So you got it. You got her teaching via one of her students. And now it's about 11 after 8, and I would like to um, move into a little actual practice of the rain. Okay? All right. And this one is rain, using rain for difficult emotions and thoughts. And again, please take care of you during this. Listen to your wise self and do what you need to do as you listen. Okay, friends, so far today, have you brought kind awareness to your thoughts? How about your heart? I know I have. And your body? Have you brought kind awareness to your body so far today? I don't think it's been none of the above. I think we've all been pretty engaged so far. And so, to begin this meditation, I want you to bring that kind awareness, bring it right on in to how your belly, chest, and head each feel when you reflect on rain and what you've learned about rain so far, and the emotions that have come up, and how you can associate what you can associate with these visceral feelings, the positive or negative impact of any stories, that story of unworthiness that you believe in regarding rain, the fact that many others are feeling similarly around this as you are. We are not alone, we are interconnected. And finally, when you can apply increased mindfulness to the topic or the practice of rain in your day to day life. And again, rain, recognize, allow or accept, investigate or nourish, nurture. Remembering that you can use this as a standalone practice anytime that you need it, and you can return to it whenever you need it. And again, I will remind you that it is especially helpful with difficult emotions and thoughts. I can attest to that. So let's sit comfortably and begin to bring your awareness right here into your present time experience. Give yourself a minute or two and start whenever you're ready to lower your gaze or close your eyes and begin to notice what you hear. Notice what you feel in the body and also what is occurring in the mind. Now, bringing up a difficult experience or emotion, start with recognition. Take your time. Nothing to do. Just bring your awareness. Recognize the thoughts coming up. Recognize the sensations in the body. Recognize the critical inner voice. Spending a few moments lingering, just acknowledging the presence of the difficulty, taking your time, gently, oh so gently tuning into the different ways it manifests in your experience. Now moving on to the next phase, allowance or acceptance. With unpleasant emotions, the habit of the mind is to try and get rid of these experiences. Instead, allow it to be present in you. You might try offering this simple phrase of equanimity and acceptance. And the phrase is, right now, it's like this. Fear is like this. Love is like this. Acceptance is like this. Continue to work with acceptance for 3 more minutes, bringing back the mind when it starts pushing the difficulty away. Try investigating. I invite you to try investigating more deeply. Mm. You recognized what you were feeling in the first step of rain. In investigation, you allow curiosity to take over. And you ask yourself where you feel vulnerable, how this emotion serves you, and if you believe you can be free from the pain, the wound. For the final few minutes of this practice. And I will bring you back with my voice, not a bell. For the final 5 minutes, or few minutes, excuse me, turn toward nourishing yourself with self compassion. This whole exercise has been a practice of self compassion. And as you are tending to the pain with awareness rather than denying it, Buddhist psychology teacher Matthew Brenselver, PhD, he writes, quote, "What could possibly cut through shame, self-judgment, and doubt more effectively than the notion that our deepest nature is pure, luminous, and transcendent," end quote. And finally, I would like to offer these words, these wishes of well being. And I invite you to repeat these phrases silently to yourself or out loud with your microphone off. And the phrases are: may I hold myself with compassion. May I treat others with kindness. May I be free of anger and aggression. May I let go of that which causes harm. May all beings be free from danger. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings have ease and well being. And may all beings awaken to their true nature. I'd like to thank you all. It's been wonderful. And so now there's about 1 minute left, and there's going to be a transition. And, I thank you for your wonderful presence. I know the talk on rain can be heavy. We have about 15 minutes before the next session. And you might use this transition time to continue your mindfulness practice. Give yourself some love. It can be with mindful movement, any practice of your choice. Just try to stay present. I recommend that you keep the Zoom session open so you can resume the next session without disconnect issues. And remember that if you find yourself out of the Zoom space, um, the link to rejoin is in the email that you got just prior to the beginning of the retreat, and it'll work for you, only you. Um, and if you have any technical issues, please reach out to Alden, the magic man behind the mask, the mirror. And the final quote I'll leave you all with, because, I just am loving these quotes. And it's from my mindfulness meditation teacher, Jack Cornfield. And Jack tells us to remember, you don't need to postpone being happy. You don't need to postpone being happy, dear ones. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. That's it for Shani and Rain, training in rain with Shane from Maine. So we will see you in about 15 minutes, okay? And I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again, everyone.